Hey, I'm Jamie. I received a question through my website, Lippincap Model Works, asking if I just offer HO scale models only. But before we jump into that, I wanted to share what I've been up to lately. I've been working on creating realistic looking dirt. Here's some samples. This is probably the best one yet. I'm getting closer to what I've pictured, and I'm actually planning to share that on one of the upcoming posts. So if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, do so you don't miss out on the realistic dirt. It's using grout, believe it or not, off-the-shelf grout you can buy at Home Depot, Lowe's, or any other hardware store. So I've kind of was a little different technique applying it, and it seems to work well, so I'm going to be sharing that. But anyway, back to the question. So if you visit Lippincap Model Works, one thing will stand out immediately, and that's pretty much everything I make is HO scale. And I'm going to be frank, there's a reason for that. Because, you know what, I'm going to have some coffee here today. It's one of those mornings. There's a lot of places out there where you can buy the same model in G, O scale, HO, and Z. I'll call them everything from G to Z. And you know what? That's fine. I just look at things a little differently. When I design a model, I'm designing it as an HO scale model from the beginning. I'm not designing something big, say in G scale or larger, and then shrinking it down to HO, because that creates a problem. And the problem is, once you get down to HO scale, some of those details in the larger model just doesn't translate and work at all. A model can be perfectly correct mathematically, but that doesn't mean it's going to look right when you actually print it in HO scale. And that is the difference between theory and practice. What happened is, you start getting really thin walls, tiny details, tiny handles, little grooves and details that were obvious on the larger model suddenly disappear. Or maybe the part prints, but it's so fragile that you break it trying to get it off the supports, or you handle it and it breaks the first time you touch it. So when I'm working on something, I'm always kind of going back and forth with, yes, I want to be accurate, but I also have to think about what happens when I actually make the thing. Can I print it? Can I pick it up? Can I paint it? And after I put primer and paint on it, can I still see the detail? That last thing comes up quite a bit. You can see the details. Take something simple like siding on a building. You can work out exactly how deep a groove should be at 1/87 scale, but if I make it exactly that deep and then one coat of primer fills half of it in, well, that really didn't do me much good. So sometimes I make a groove a little deeper or make a detail a little bit heavier than it technically should be. Not enough that you look at it and think to yourself, well, something's a little bit off here, something's wrong. Just enough that when it's painted and sitting on the layout, it looks right. It looks like it belongs there. And really, that's the part I care about. What does it look like on the layout? And does it look like it should belong there? And here's something else. Here's another thing I've noticed when I'm looking online at models. You'll see something offered in 5 or 6 different scales, but the really nice painted example they show you is the big one, the G scale or larger model. And let's be frank, I get why. Big models are a lot easier to paint and get the details to show up than the smaller ones. You got room to get a brush in there, you can mask things, you can get into the details, weathering's a whole lot easier. Then you shrink the same thing down to HO and it can be a completely different experience. That's another reason I show the actual HO model. If I show something painted, it is in HO scale, period. If I show the details, those are the details you're actually going to see in HO. I'm not showing you a big version and asking you to imagine what the HO scale one looks like. Which goes back to when I'm designing something, I'm thinking about where I would put it. Would I put this beside a building? Would it look like right on a loading dock? Can I see it from a normal distance? Am I going to be sitting there with tweezers trying to hold this thing while I paint it? Those things end up affecting the design. So that's really why I've stayed focused on HO. It's not that I couldn't take something and scale it up or scale it down. I just really don't want to do that. I'd rather design something for HO in the first place that I know will look right. And that's all I really mean when I say HO first. It's the scale I model in, it's the scale I design for. As always, thank you for watching. I appreciate you following along with what I'm doing here. Feel free to subscribe to the channel, and until next time, happy model railroading.